Imagine if Pokemon Ark Survival, Minecraft server shenanigans, and Fortnite all got rolled into one game and had a beautiful baby. And that is what I'm going to talk to you about now, which is PalWorld. Okay, now I don't have early access myself. God, I really wish I did, but I've watched lots of content on the matter from people that do. Mostly this video here from Curtis Builds, who has done a really excellent job at talking about all the different features coming to PalWorld. And in this video, I'm going to distill down those core features and important details into a tight video that's really easy to digest. Really short and sweet, telling you all the features back to back so that you can really understand what's going on. Now, the first one I've got for you here is the minimum specs for PalWorld. So right here, you can see that as far as a GPU goes, it only requires, as minimum specs, it requires a GTX 1050 graphics card, which is actually a really cheap and a really low-end graphics card. So most cards will do really well. I expect 1060 to pretty much run this game on 60 FPS from everything that I've seen on maybe low graphics settings. So it should be very doable with most low-end computer systems, which is very impressive for a game like this. The next thing we've got is, here it is, PalWorld on Steam. For anyone who doesn't know how much it's going to be costing, you can actually get this thing on Xbox Game Pass, which is currently $10 a month, or I think it's $1 for 14 days or something like that. So you can get Xbox Game Pass to play it on Xbox or Steam. Crossplay will not be available at launch. That being said, you can buy it on Steam in early access for $30. After it leaves early access eventually, I suspect the price will actually go up. So there's your pricing for PalWorld. I have watched 5+ creators and they have all said that it runs extremely well. This is very, very surprising. I've watched early access reviews for many, many different games in my time, and it's very, very rare that they run well, and every single creator seems to agree. There's usually at least one that's particularly honest and says it runs like crap, but in this case, there really isn't that. So in the game, you start off with nothing, and as you go through, you start to collect resources and build your first base and capture your very first pals in the game. The game will guide you up until your very first boss battle, and to capture pals, you may need to weaken them. You can do this through a variety of different means. You can weaken them by getting out a spear and whacking them around with it, getting a gun when you eventually get that late into the game, or your pals can also attack them as well. As you weaken them, they will be easier to capture with pal spheres. You can also fast travel between your bases. And they also have an upgradable limit. I believe they start with 3 pals a limit to assign to your base. And then as you upgrade your base and get further along in the game and make multiple bases, you can have more pals working at these different bases. So the other thing is that there are shiny pals in the game, okay? These look really, really cool. They are larger than normal pals, and I think they're a lot stronger. Curtis in his video says that he encountered 3 across about 30 hours of gameplay, which feels like a really similar odd rates to something like Pokemon Let's Go. Because if we consider that Pokemon Let's Go shows more Pokemon on screen than I suspect PalWorld does, it feels like a really similar drop rate. The other thing is that your pals will actually help at base and automate it all for you. For example, they can farm and mine for you on your behalf. The other thing is that there will be PvE raids, and Curtis describes them as happening every 3 to 4 in-game days, but I've seen some of the other creators mention that they barely ever happen. So it's really hard to say what's true, what's factual. Maybe it depends where you put your base in the game. I really don't know how frequently it's actually going to happen where you get raids. The other thing is that there's dungeons, world bosses, and gym battles in the game all available, which is really, really cool. He even mentions that in dungeons, they're actually randomized when you enter them and go into the dungeon. So there's a lot of replayability, I suspect, there, although once you capture every single pal, maybe it's not as easy to get all that collectability out, but for the most part, it sounds really, really interesting. Obviously, I haven't played it myself. The other thing is that there is a standard element system, really simple stuff, kind of like Pokemon, where fire beats grass and grass beats water. That sort of thing is in PalWorld. I think it is a lot less intense though. It's a lot more, there's a lot less elements. There's not 18 or 19 like Pokemon has. You can also rescue pals from NPC villages. I thought this was really cool, and that pal actually looks like a really rare variant of something, but you can go and rescue them from the NPC villages. So there is lots of different kinds of things to do in this game, and lots of different things that are going to occur as you explore this vast world. The other thing is that there is solid character customization. I've never been super big on this, but it looks really great, some really cool hairstyles and things like that. I'm definitely going to have fun customizing my character, especially since there will be co-op in the game. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So the last few things, especially some things that weren't really covered in the video, are as follows. So let me go through it. Every pal has unique suitabilities that allows them to help you and your base in different ways as you go through the game. Also, many creators have talked about the world being very, very large, and pals actually enabling this exploration deeper by either flying on them or going through on the water on their backs or whatever it might be. I know I see this question a lot, that controller is supported in the Steam version of the game. Obviously it's supported in the Xbox version, but it already was. So you can play on keyboard and mouse or controller on the Steam version of the game. Crossplay will not be available at launch. If you have a bunch of your friends getting the game, make sure you all get it on the exact same device. However, this will come later on. They are also currently testing and building out PvP, and if you want to see a video on that, subscribe down below, because I will be looking at some speculation for PvP shortly after I drop this video. You can also, so co-op is really interesting in this game. There's really two ways to do it. Firstly, you can have 3 people join your world, or you can create a server using PalWorld's tools for up to 32 players, which will also allow the creation of guilds and things like that. You cannot do that if people just join your world. Also, you cannot really bring progress across. Say you capture 5 or 6 different pals in your solo world, you cannot take that progress into your friend's world or into a server. But if you're playing just on the server and you capture all your pals there, obviously that will be maintained. So there is a ton more detailed information I did not cover that Curtis covers in his video. Go check out the video in the description down below. Please subscribe and like if you want to see more PalWorld content. I may be starting a second channel as well, so stay tuned for that. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below on what your favorite feature is for PalWorld and what you're most excited to do when you get your hands on the game.